All right, everybody. Welcome to Drama Free Gaming. It is what it says, and it says what it is. Welcome to DFG podcast number 004. We're doing this live as always. So, again, we are not responsible for whatever might come out of our mouths. There's been a lot of frustration since last night, early morning. But we're going to give this a roll right now. You guys going to catch this on a VOD, whether that's on Mixer or on YouTube over at Drama Free Gaming. Help us get our own URL there. And we have in the house two brothers, but I'm going to introduce my co-host, my brother from another mother and the same heavenly father. It's Jay. Dark Dad, talk to these people.
Hey, what's going on, people? I've missed y'all. I've missed y'all so much. But it's been kind of a surly last couple of days. Listen to this brother talking about he want to, take his computer out back and give it what for. Maybe even kick it.
Let's not go there now, brother. I'll rant on that in a minute here, all right? But the gameplay that you're watching right now, it's Jay playing Castlevania, and again, this is as much a test as anything. And there he goes. He's gonna start from the beginning, I think, because he's trying to burn through this. The OG Konami Castlevania, and we also have with us Santo Nate, my other brother from another mother and the same heavenly father. What's going on, Nate? Talk to these people.
What's going on? How's it doing? Santo Nate in the house for the first time.
Not the first time, Nate. Don't get it right.
And maybe not just like that, right? Though. Yeah, I mean, we did a recording not too long ago, and then that all went haywire as well. But hopefully now it's official. And like I said, guys, usually we do this podcast live and give you guys an opportunity to be in the chat and hang out and chill with us. But we got to roll with what we got now because, like I said, things is kind of haywire. As Jay alluded to, my PC has been acting kind of crazy, but we're going to fix that. If not, we're just going to have to take it out back and put one in its head. But anyways.
No. This brother feeling lethal today like that, man? Come
brother,
on now.
last night was rough. Like 2 a.m. rough, bro. It's just, I get obsessed about this stuff. But anyways, Jay, what are you playing?
Well, as you alluded to earlier, I am playing the OG Castlevania. From back in the day, you guys should know. Those of you that have played this game, seen it thousands and thousands of times. Jesus, I am not having a good time right now.
And Jay's an old school, an OG gamer by choice. Like, this is his groove right here.
Yeah, so I'm an old.
Yeah.
Go ahead and just call me old school. But I'm sorry. Without these games, the games we have today would be nothing. Remember that.
Yeah,
bask in it.
The Waymakers.
Yeah. And Nate, I'm gonna ask you to maybe get in your mic a little bit more. Just I could hear you, but don't want to hear like you in the background or something.
Well, Nate all about getting close. That boy got the
brother. Let's not even go. It's too early in the podcast. Talk about that, Nate. So
I gotta get him.
You know what? I don't want you to scare away. Our guest here, Nate. We gonna talk a little bit here because something that I did not know about you is that you're a big fighting genre gamer. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Love fighting games.
Yeah, talk to me, man. Where did that start? Where did that passion start up?
It had to start with Tekken 1. When Tekken 1 first came out, I played it, fell in love with it. I honestly liked everything, all the features about it, and I don't know, it just was like one of those games that just kind of like when you watch movies, you used to see people doing stuff, and you're like, man, I wish I could do that. And then now here comes a game that, like, you're doing all this crazy stuff you saw in the movies. I'm just like, yo, this is dope. And then I liked it, but Tekken 3 is what did it for me. Everybody can remember Eddie Gordo, which now is kind of the cheese character a little bit, but Eddie Gordo was everybody's favorite because it introduced the world to capoeira. So
First off, Eddie Gordo sucked. And
see what I mean?
Jay, you gotta focus on the gameplay.
No,
this is live gameplay right here. So,
hey, you know what? I'm gonna run my mouth when it comes to fighting games. I'm sorry, Nate. I played many a fighting game in my day. I will never knock Tekken because Tekken has done some things in this world. But Eddie, I'd have chopped both your legs off for choosing Eddie Gordo.
Okay, wait. You know what? Listen, we gonna get. Hold on. I didn't sound the bell. Everybody, go back to your corners. Hold on. All right.
Okay.
So
Rip.
I want to kind of like ask first because, and I want to, let's give Nate his piece, and then you want to jump in there and throw some blows with him. You can do that, Jay. But let me ask Nate a question. You said Tekken 1. Right? That was what kind of like got you into the genre.
Yeah.
And Tekken 1, where did you play Tekken 1? Was that on like PlayStation?
Yeah, that was a PlayStation. I mean, to be complete fair and honest, I like everybody's startup was Street Fighter. Let me be completely honest.
Right.
Then there was Mortal Kombat, but Tekken was my go-to. Like where most people like they were Mortal Kombat heads, Tekken was my go-to. But
okay.
Tekken 1 is what got me hooked on that and what made that my primary go-to game.
Okay. Yeah, and it's interesting, Nate, because I was hearing someone talking not too long ago how those arcade machines, the Street Fighter, to be specific, the Street Fighter arcade machines were built in such a way that when Mortal Kombat was put out or was coming out, that those Street Fighter machines were easy to convert over to like a Mortal Kombat. So it was always like kind of like this rivalry, if that even existed, between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, because everybody was playing Street Fighter. But you said Tekken, and Tekken was back like PlayStation 1, right? If I'm not mistaken about that.
You are correct on that.
That is correct.
Yeah, Tekken 1. So and then Tekken had these like polygon looking graphics, but I remember that Tekken 1 being something, what's the word I want to use here? Unique to Mortal Kombat, because Mortal Kombat was bringing, obviously the brutality with the fatalities and, the over the top, I should say, fighting style. It was like brutal and comical at the same time. And then Street Fighter was Street Fighter, obviously, but Tekken had its own groove. And you said then Tekken 3 was what hooked you.
You there, Nate?
Yeah, say that one more time. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm saying, so what was it about Tekken 3 that hooked you?
Honestly, the intro. This very day, the intro was, I love the intro. Not only that too, but it had a nice little edge to it. You know what I mean? Like when you watch the intro, like for me, intros are big. So if the intro got it for me, then I was hooked in the game. But when I played, I said Eddie, but the first character I remember playing with was Haram, and he did Taekwondo. The fact that you could change your stance, and then when you change your stance, you had a whole different avenue of moves. To me, that was just like, that was crazy to me.
Now, Haram was not in Tekken 1, right?
No, he's talking about Tekken 3 right now.
Tekken 3.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Yeah, he moved on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I see the love. All right.
Oh, I'm just saying, Jay. It's okay. We know you're trying to focus on this Castlevania in the background. And I just want to let you know, while we're live. Again, I don't know if it's the old school gaming. It shouldn't be, but it is breaking up sometimes. So we apologize.
Is it screen tear?
Yeah, there's some screen tearing going on. Yep. But that's just a server thing. That's like a internet thing. So even if you're running 1080 and whatnot, anyways, we're not gonna get into that. So Nate, back to this fighting. So you had Tekken 3. That's what, hooked you. And where did you go from there? Because Tekken 3 is still what? PlayStation 1 era?
Tekken 3
is PlayStation. Yeah, Tekken 3 is PlayStation 1.
Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, you're looking at what PlayStation 1 did 720p resolution?
No,
yes, sir. No, wait a minute.
360.
Was it?
It was
I think
PlayStation
360.
PlayStation 2 was when you started getting.
You started getting the 720.
PlayStation 2, I think.
Yeah, PlayStation 2
Okay.
and 3 is when people started to visually care about what their games look like.
Okay. Well, that's what I was alluding into now. Because Tekken 3, okay, we're talking about, 2 more games in the series. Graphically, over Tekken 1, it was much better looking. So where do you go from there?
Honestly, I stuck with the genre. Like, I stuck with the genre on all Tekken 4, Tekken 5, Tekken 6, going all the way till now. Like, I'm on Tekken 7.
So you playing Tekken 7 now? Okay, so you
Tekken
stayed
7.
with that series, you mean? Yeah, because the genre is fighting, but you're with that series then. So what's kept you in Tekken?
Sorry.
What's kept you in Tekken and hasn't moved you, away from it to something like, again, Mortal Kombat's like up to Mortal Kombat 11, and I think the last time I saw it, that game looked phenomenal. Looked like a lot of fun. Street Fighter's gone through a bunch of iterations and whatnot. What's kept you in the Tekken series?
I think it's how fluent it is. Tekken, the thing about Tekken that is good is that it's fluent. It's a fluent fighter. So it's like when you're fighting on there, I don't know, the fighting, when I was playing, I never really, the thing about it is that, like, when I play other fighting games, like, say, for instance, you said Mortal Kombat felt very choppy when I was doing the combos. Very, 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 very choppy. It didn't seem as fluid, even when because the moves, you can only do, like, a certain moves before it would just kind of time out on you. But when it came to, say, like, for instance, like Tekken, the moves were just on a different level. Like, you'd be doing moves and you had all these combos that would blink, and the fighting it felt more real. To say that the fighting felt more real.
So you're saying like that the Tekken series, and I think I agree with you, is just a more technical fighter than anything. You had to learn the movesets. It was all about that timing.
That is correct. Yep.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair to say.
Yeah, it was, because even now, if you're fighting someone and you guys can have somebody who's like, for instance, there's different characters, and I feel like in Street Fighter, even in Mortal Kombat, everybody has the same type of style of play. We all have a projectile move. We all have like your basic combo. But in Tekken, where Tekken becomes Tekken is when you're face to face and toe to toe. Literally, it's the fights. You and somebody could be going head to head, and you're blocking each other's moves. You're ducking. It looks more like a real fight. And I don't know how to explain it, but it's more fluent. Is all I can say. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just.
So someone.
I would have to show you guys one of my videos.
Okay, so someone like me, like I don't have like any like inside knowledge of Tekken. Like I never really like, I played a couple of them. I can't tell you which one. For me the game, like you said, was really technical, and it was all about, knowing the move sets and executing them and chaining those combos or those move sets. And I kind of understand what you're saying about the fighting being more real. Has anything changed in the Tekken series since 1? Like, how has the game evolved?
Well, it's evolved a lot because now they added, so the juggling factor was always, so I got an opportunity to play against 3 people who were ranked in the world with Tekken, and they juggled me across the screen. But now they're making the game a little bit more for juggling, which I'm kind of not a big fan of, but I can still hold my own. Like, I fought some people like with big win streaks, and there's still that science. Just like any other fighting game, you still have that science of knowing how to, play defense against them. But
Okay,
like for me, the juggling aspect, I think they've really evolved that and as well as the characters.
Okay, so I know you, myself, Jay, we're gamers, but I don't want to assume that everyone who just heard you talking about the juggling. Explain that. What is juggling in this game?
So juggling is so for instance, every character has a pop up. This move is they call it a launcher. This move launches your opponent in the air, and when you launch your opponent in the air, after that you can then do what they call a launcher. You can then do a series of combos that just continuously just literally juggles a person in midair, like you're playing with a hacky sack.
And they're defenseless.
They're defenseless. You can't do nothing about it. They can literally juggle you all the way across the screen. Now, if you've been playing Tekken for a while, you know every character's launch move. The reason why it's like Eddie Gordo is most hated is because a lot of his, and once he launches you, he just goes to work, and that's it. You will never get up off the ground, so everybody hates him. But he has a lot of quick moves. But what they've been doing is now crossing over into the era. You see, back then it was a little different too, because back then, they didn't have the ability to update games, so it just is what it is. But now with this whole, on the fly we can update a game. They also have the ability to dumb characters down. They can not just that, but they can actually do an update to what's it called? They can nerf certain characters.
Okay. And and before you go into that, it's interesting the way that you say it, that nowadays, even with with every genre, but we're talking about the fighting genre, you don't think about this back in, Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, a game came out, it was complete, right? What it was is the game you got. And if there was an overpowered character, etc., the game wasn't quote unquote balanced or whatever, you just got good, right? With whatever character you either decided you was going to use, or you just used a character that was overpowered, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. So now, we live in a time where, it's a two-edged sword. You can release a patch and you can quote unquote, and the word that you use is funny, but it's real. You can dumb down the character, but people will say, oh no, it's not dumbing down. We're nerfing them because they're too strong. We want to make the game more balanced. But I agree with what you're saying. You dumb down the character, which in essence then, everybody just moves over then to the next character who now becomes the alpha character. They're the stronger character. because that's basically what people do. Either that or get good, right?
Yeah. Basically.
I mean, I don't know. You laughing, Jay? Why you laughing?
Okay.
Did I say something
I
wrong?
been waiting for a minute.
No, I've been quiet. I've been holding my tongue.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, see.
Ding ding.
I came no. This ain't no knock against Nate.
Here comes Jay.
I came up in the arcade scene where, literally it was get good or go home. There was no practicing, there was no game pro. Yeah, there were moves. You got to step up or shut up. And I played like Nate. Nate was a Tekken specialist. I was not. I played everything. Street Fighter, King of Fighters, Groove on Fight. The list goes on and on and on and on and on when it comes to fighting games. I played Tekken as well. I played King. The only reason I like to play King because I love to throw people, and it was funny.
King what? King what? What's that?
King, he's a.
Oh, you're talking about a character in Tekken. I thought you was talking about a game. I'm sorry. My apologies. Yeah. I know who King is in Tekken.
Yeah, I use King, and it's as he says, but just like anything else, Tekken fighting game community such as Tekken and whatnot, these companies are gonna go just like anything else for what sells. So let's say Horong is slightly overpowered, yeah, Nate's right. They're gonna try to fix it, but at the same time, classic rule: get good or go home.
Yeah, I mean
I believe in that firmly.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the point that I was saying, and I think that you and I are saying the same thing, and you actually agreeing with me. Like, back in the days, you had your game, not just in the fighting genre, in any game, that was your final product. That's what you had, and broke or glitched or whatever, you just got good. You dealt with it, right? I mean,
you have a choice.
But now it's like, okay, here's the patch, patch 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 10,000.0, and the game is never quite complete because it's always getting quote unquote patched, which again is a two-edged sword. It's part of the reason, I'm not gonna go on this rant, but it's part of the reason why I stopped playing the Division 2, because the game is not the game that it was when it first came. I don't even know if it even knew what it was when it first came out. Okay. Honestly. But we ain't talking about Division 2. Let me.
Well, see, you done got to start it now. we can go back, but I want to say this as far as Division goes. I did a little research about what they trying to do, and did I soft lock? What? Wow.
All I'm telling you is, I don't want you to be upset when you see this video, and if we post it, I'm probably gonna have to separate. Oh, it just froze.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna have to change. But keep going.
I'll just separate the audio from the video. That's all right. But for the purposes now, we'll just keep going. But yeah, you were saying about the Division. I want you to finish your thoughts on that.
They're rechanging everything, like
armor, flamethrowers now,
weapons.
The latest is flamethrowers. You know that, right?
Yeah, and like, I want the game to have an identity so I can return to the Division. I really do. I mean, well, Division 2, I want it to have an identity because right now the game's going through an identity crisis. This is like the second or third time. They've changed armor around. They've changed wording, armor sets, weapons. I give Ubisoft credit, though. They try to give the fans what they want.
No, I don't. I disagree, but go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, brother.
Did you just throw on Anthem?
Yes, I did.
Oh, my God. It's still breaking up. You know that? It's breaking up hard.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's breaking up hard. That don't look
Huh.
right.
See, it's not even doing that on my side. Like I'm looking at my stream and I'm getting nothing. Like I don't see any tearing.
Okay, all right.
I don't
Well,
see.
we'll keep going. It's all right.
Oh no! I
So
mean, I'll
okay,
take a look.
no, that's cool. Go ahead. So all right. I'm not gonna go any further into that rant. I think that'll be a conversation for another time. But I want to get back to
Go
this
ahead,
fighting
Nate.
genre business. You know, cause this is Nate's forte here. You know, last time we spoke and recorded and all that other stuff, it didn't come through. It was a shame.
It was.
Cause I mean we had a real good time. So trying to
It was good.
trying to recast that magic is not gonna happen. But even with Tekken, I find it intriguing, and maybe this is what has got you locked in, and a lot of other people. It didn't quite lock me in because I discovered real quick that Tekken is a real technical game. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that Street Fighter is not a technical game, Mortal Kombat's not a technical game, but because of the fighting style, in my opinion,
Yes.
in Tekken, if it's evolved, if it's grown, it has been in that aspect. And you were talking about every character has a juggle move, a move that can get their opponent into the air. Yeah, to pull that off, if you're playing against somebody that knows what they're doing, it can either be great because you're on that level, or it can be your demise and you'll never come back to that game because they're just gonna throw you up in the air, and next thing you know, your game is done.
Well, and to be fair, it's it's an element that's in a lot of games. Like in every single game, I didn't know that you could tie together certain moves in Mortal Kombat until I saw somebody do it, and I was like, how did you pull that off so quick? Because the combinations of do the moves are so awkward. Like the thing about Tekken is you have a lot of moves that are very hold forward, X Y X Y, or hold back and hit X, as opposed to Street Fighter, down back X, or down forward X, or down forward back, forward down back X. So the combos for me, it's like I'm not as smooth as some people. When I see some people on there hit those combos and piece them, I'm like, I had no idea you could do this. But Tekken, and this is according to what, going back to even what Jay was saying about there was no practice, you just did it. But Tekken is one of those technical fighters that if you really get serious about it, you're going to want to go through all 30, 45 of them and try to learn all 45 of those moves, because then when you start fighting somebody, those moves, and the thing about Tekken is, what I like about it is that when your back is against the wall and somebody's coming at you, all you remember is just tapping them X and them Y's and trying to get them little punches and kicks in there. But if you trained with a certain character, then you know how to block, you know your counterattack moves. So it definitely makes it fun. And it's just, but, what you were going back to, even what you were saying about, today's era about updating, the only thing I don't like about it is that people, they whine, say, oh, this guy's too powerful, he's too OP, and they'll dumb down a great fighter. For instance, let's use Steve Fox, for instance, and I wish there was video. Steve Fox, for instance. If you look at Steve Fox in Tekken 5 versus Tekken 6, Tekken 7, and Tekken Tag Tournament 2, he's a complete different character in all his moves. And I think in Tekken 7, he's the worst version. Everybody hands down says that Steve Fox in Tekken 5 was the best because he had both power and speed. I don't know, Jay, I know you played Tekken a little bit, so I don't know, what you think about the nerfing.
Honestly, I really don't think a lot of fighting games should even be nerfing characters. I mean, I get balancing it out. So yeah, you gotta give, you gotta take. You know, it's always going to be a give and take world. But at the end of the day, like there are some fighting games that never get nerfed.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, and you know, if you had a character that's ridiculously OP, guess what? At the end of the day, you just had to be better than the other person. And that's how I play fighting games. That's how I've learned. That's how I always learn. If I want to get good at a fighting game, that's the only thing I can do is how I've come up. I got to be better than you. And I will grind until I'm better than you.
Yep.
And that's it. I don't care who you use. If I got to take a Timberland up my rear end, and that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to keep grinding until I'm better than you.
But you know, most,
Yep.
and I'm going to jump in there, Jay, because, you know, you just said something that probably, I don't know, I'm just going to throw a percentage out there, 95% of the people won't do, you know, or even think about. Like, you know, you guys are talking about these games because you know these games intimately. And, you know, of course, you're going to be able to give some insight on these games because you know these characters, you know the series, you know the moves, you got history with the game. But most people, they jump on a game, they play, have some fun. But my point to it is Tekken, like with Street Fighter, with Mortal Kombat, Samurai Showdown, etc., etc., all of these games, in one way, shape, or another, you got to put some time into these games.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're going to play, and you're going to play on a level where you're being competitive, because that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about competitive gameplay. We're not talking about, oh, I'm over with the fellas and we're just gonna have fun. Even though I remember, you know, sometimes when, especially on that Super Nintendo, playing Street Fighter Turbo, I was pretty mean with Chun-Li. You know, just saying. You know, I was taking hearts, but you know, it that's why I liked Street Fighter, to be honest. I didn't play it in the arcade, because when I would go to arcade and I would see, you know, Mr., and let's call him Mr. X, who obviously was putting in some work, and there was people lined up putting them quarters on the dash, waiting their turn, and the fight would be over like in less than 30 seconds.
Oh yeah.
I was like, one, I ain't have that money. Two, if I did have that money, I wasn't gonna put 50 cents on a arcade deck to get my behind handed to me in 30 seconds. So, you know, I played on the console. My experience was gaming on the console, usually at friends' homes and whatnot. But for me to get good with, like, you know, a character, like, my characters for Street Fighter were Guile was my like go-to. Guile and Chun-Li and Daolism. Those are the three characters I use. That's it. But even a game like Street Fighter Turbo, you gotta practice, man. And Tekken was one of those games. And I don't know, it's what I'm thinking now, what Nate's alluding to. If it's evolved, it's gotten more technical, hasn't it? Because the game was technical when I remember playing it.
Let me put it this way, like, I'm not gonna put myself on the rank board, but man, I had to go back and practice. See, and it's not that it's even technical, but it's like they'll change a person's combo. So if you go off memory, Tekken 3 to Tekken 4 to Tekken 5, going on and so forth, using the same character.
Well, I'm glad you saying that, because I was gonna ask you, do they follow and then just add to those movesets as the game or the series progresses?
Or they interchange the buttons. So now, like for instance, for Brian's my number one character. Everybody knows, like, Brian, if I pick Brian, I'm pretty much out the slaughter. Brian, they changed up his 10 string by one button in Tekken 7. But it's been the same throughout. So now I've been having the hardest thing practicing with him trying to get it done because I just can't and I can't do it. And I'm like, yo, because they changed the button layout. And I'm like, this is crazy. And I know other players too who have complained about the same thing. Like they'll change up certain buttons. And I don't know if it's because people like they thought it was a cheese move or what, but they basically just they switch it up, you know. But some moves are still fluent the same, and sometimes they take out a move and then they bring it back in a later version, and then it's kind of nuts. But it's
Now,
still a very technical fighter. But let me say this too before I forget too, on the part where Jay was saying, and I totally agree, like you just got to be better than them. A lot of people don't know is that every character on Tekken has an opposing character that equals him out. So a lot of times if you're there's certain characters that are good for, and I don't know if Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter were like this, so you can back me up on that, but every character, you got some characters that are more technical than others. Some are easier, some are strictly defensive. Like for instance, like when I want to have a good defensive fighter where I keep you at bay and you're not going wild on me, I pick Jin. Because he has a lot of powerful like kickback moves that make you think twice about attacking him. When I want to be on offense, I pick Brian or somebody like Steve because they're offensive, they're quick offensive. You know, so but every character has a balanced out opposing character that balances out their moves. So like I heard him talk about King, and King, believe it or not, his balanced out character is this new guy called Dragunov, which I just discovered recently. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, that you know, the conversation that I can have with you and actually enjoy is because you're knowledgeable, because you're in the game, you're in the series, you know, you're just not picking it up and saying, hey, this is cool. You've been playing these games for like years and years and years on that, and you've progressed with the game. So that's really cool, man. That's really cool. Jay, you know, I think I just figured out something. Maybe when you're playing these older games like the 360 games or whatever, I need to like lower my resolution on my end to try to capture, because I was like at 1440 and now I brought it down to 1080, and even though on my big screen it still looks choppy, on the computer where it's recording it looks much better. So we'll see how that turns out. But I'm gonna be editing the video anyway, so I'm just experimenting here on this side. So Nate, anything else you wanna like throw in there regarding your love for Tekken, or just for the fighting genre? Like, what are you looking forward to? If you could change anything in Tekken, what would it be in the next iteration?
Honestly, they've added this new element to Tekken, which is since Tekken 6, and it was where you can customize your character, where he looks nothing like the original character. And it's really cool, actually, because it really gives the players a kind of personal feel when you're out there, and then it also gives other people opportunities for goofballs, obviously. Now, the second thing is if I'm gonna change anything, there was a fighting game back in the day. Jay, I'm gonna throw the ingredients at you, and I'm gonna see if you can make the recipe. It was a fighting where you make your own fighter, and you actually make his moves. If they took that element, I think it was K1 or Togo. Man.
Okay, well, you got to be more specific, because there are plenty of games that did that. Like there was
for the PS2.
There was
the PS2.
There was Fighter Maker. UFC let you do it.
Well, no. Just strictly, it was a fighting game. It was like Fighter Maker, but it was called. Oh man, it was on PS1. I think PS1 is what it was on.
It could have been K1. I mean, they didn't have that kind of technology back then for it to really be of note. But it's something I'll go and look up, because you got me curious.
But yeah, definitely something. That's something I would definitely like in Tekken. To answer the question, if we can do something where it's like, hey, let's give you a custom fighter, and then boom, you can actually, pick and even if they just keep it simple, pick and choose moves from your favorite fighters and put into this one character who's good. I think that'd be really cool.
No.
Sounds like sounds ambitious though for a game like Tekken. Sounds almost like making a me character for Smash Brothers.
Well,
not that simple, but it would be much
right
more technical, don't you think? Like for a game like Tekken.
No, you could do it. But because you wouldn't. Because here's the thing: the combos, because you're picking and choosing from different people, it's gonna add a whole new element where it is gonna cut down the fluidity of I can't even say that word, but
fluidity.
Yes, thank you. Of the game, because you're using movesets from different people. However, what I'm aiming, it gives it more of a freestyle approach to even though it's going to cut down on it being less fluid with that, it's going to give people like a sense of, hey, this is my fighter, like I'm picking the moves that I got, so like it's going to, because like for instance for RPGs, right, and we talked about Division, we talked about all these games that the whole idea is that they give you customization so that way you feel that character, get into the character. So think about it, for a fighting game, why not do the same thing to give a player who's a big thing?
Did we lose you there?
You there, Nate? Hello?
Can y'all
Yeah,
hear me?
I hear you.
There you go.
Somebody was calling. Man, my bad. Somebody was calling me.
It's all right.
But basically, it would give fighters the same thing, like that feel like an RPG would, where it's
Right.
like, hey, this is my fighter, and then when you go on a ranked mode, it's like there's more of a kind of like, I'm ranked, but there's only one type of my fighter. So you can pick Jin, I can pick Jin, we can equal each other out, but there's only one of my fighters.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of this fighter, but I think it appeared in Game Pass or here on the Xbox platform. That is exactly what you're talking about, that, or maybe almost like that you actually had a fighter, but you are the one that like kind of customized the style.
You can do that.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
You can do that in Jump Force. You can see the problem with what you're introducing, Nate. There's a thing called frame data. Every character has frame data that lets you know how many frames this move does this.
Yeah.
And see, when you get into that, like making characters and giving them certain moves, you basically could make a character that's predictably unbeatable. That's why every character has to have, be different. That's why anybody will tell you is just play with the character as they are.
Right.
If they suck, they suck.
Yeah, and that's good to know. I think we're speaking more like hypotheticals though. Like, if there's one thing, on a wish list, whether possible or not, because it would be a technical feat, obviously, like to program like that, or you would have to make, me thinking here off the top of my dome, a generic character, and then that generic character would be like a starting base that would be identical in all characters moving forward. Let's just say, and again, I'm not a programmer or anything like that, but it would have to work something like that so that there's a commonality across the board with all characters that would be developed, so there wouldn't be that kind of like conflict. But let me ask this, the next question I want to ask you then, if there's something about Tekken that you would not change, what would it be? And that's at you, Nate.
Hello? No, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Okay,
got you.
it cut out for a little bit. Okay, it cut out for a
Okay.
little bit.
Yeah. No, but I
So
can
you
hear
gotta
you.
tell me again. Sorry.
So did you hear what I asked you?
No, you gotta tell me again.
All
Sorry.
right. If there was something about Tekken, the Tekken series, that you would not change, what would that be?
Very interesting. So, what if I'm gonna change anything about Tekken? No, if I'm not anything, I'm sorry. That's actually a good one.
I mean, you said
You-
that the
I
game has
wouldn't
evolved. Yeah, go ahead.
I would not change just the natural dynamic of Tekken. Just how Tekken is. You know what I mean? I wouldn't change how Tekken is. Like, in other words, just the style. Like that type of fluid gameplay. I wouldn't add projectiles, definitely. I wouldn't add projectiles. I wouldn't add supercharged Haidu kits or anything like that. I wouldn't add anything like superpowers. I would
Right.
keep it just strictly like, realistic fighters. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a couple characters on there that can use projectiles, and with customization there is, but it's very hard to do those moves. So therefore, people use it a lot unless they're being cheesed. But I wouldn't add projectiles, and I wouldn't use like super charged up moves like that.
Okay. So you would keep that. What makes Tekken is what you're saying, which is that, that raw, kind of basic, grounded fighting that doesn't have, like you said, a meter that's gonna build up and then you can do a super combo move or something.
They kind of have that now. It's called
Okay.
the Rage. But
Okay.
I just wouldn't add like a Dragon Ball Z move to it, or
Gotcha.
make it like an open terrain. Because
Okay.
right now it's a 3D fighter, but it's still where you can move around, but it still plays like a linear fighter. If
Okay.
they add anything else, like where, say for instance, like Power Stone, where you're running around in circles, that's gonna
Right.
go.
Like
stuff
an
like that.
arena type.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
See, that's what I didn't like about that. That's what turned me off on Street Fighter, when it became like kind of like this 3-dimensional fighter. And I think that Mortal Kombat did that at one point.
It's still 3D. Mortal Kombat's probably the best looking fighting game.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about 3D as in like the background is 3D and you can interact. I'm talking about when the models, the actual characters were like 3-dimensional. It wasn't like a left to right fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like there was you can walk into the screen, walk out of the screen. There was like that added dimension.
Now
Gotcha.
there were games that far did it first. There was Virtual Fighter.
Yes.
And Virtual Fighter was what kicked off this whole polygon realm
Yes.
of fighting game.
Yeah.
You had Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
Street
I
Fighter.
like DOA. I used to play DOA, but I never liked that style, that look, or that gameplay for like Street Fighter. I think Street Fighter attempted something like that. I didn't like it.
It was called. You must be thinking about Spider EX Plus Alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yes.
I didn't like it, and Mortal Kombat did it as well, if I'm not mistaken.
They went. Mortal Kombat 4 was their first 3D iteration.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I
a lot
didn't
of
appreciate
people
it.
were not very happy with it. I mean,
Yeah,
it was cool.
I was one of them.
It was cool for what it was, but because everybody was trying to break into that 3D, that 3D realm, because technology.
Now was
wanted more.
that during like GameCube era when you had the Mario 64? Was that era?
I think MK4 was P2. Yeah, PlayStation.
Okay, because
PlayStation.
you're talking about when they were trying to break that that 3D realm and whatnot, and yeah, I immediately think about N64 and Mario 64, and it was like, wow, back in the day it was a leap from you playing a 2D platform. Now you're in an actual 3D world, where you can look around you 360 degrees.
Yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
the grandfather of all that is Virtual Fighter set the stage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny about? No, actually, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Nate. Speak your piece.
No, so speaking of which, how did you feel about the Street Fighter X Tekken?
Oh, Street Fighter Cross Tekken?
Yes.
Wasn't they supposed to do a Tekken Cross Street Fighter as well? It never came out?
So what it was is that Capcom made their version of Street
Capcom.
Fighter X Tekken.
No N-M. Capcom.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Brother giving English lessons. Come on, man. We all know what we talk about.
But however, what was it? Namco is supposed to make their version, which is gonna bring Street Fighter into the realm of Tekken, and that one I'm really waiting on to see how they're gonna do it.
Do you think it's gonna come out?
Yeah.
Well, they've been talking about it for a while, but
a while, like how long?
Okay.
It's since when Street Fighter vs. Tekken came out.
Yeah, that's been a while.
Okay, Nate. Let me go ahead and hit you with some of this knowledge. Do you know why? Do you know why Akuma is in Tekken right now?
Because it's a test.
So why wouldn't they do the game?
It don't mean
I
nothing.
didn't say that they weren't going to do the game.
The character's in there.
No. They had to put a Street Fighter character in Tekken 7 to make sure that the engine can handle it, that people would be excited about it, and they were.
It's a test run.
And at the end of the day, the game is coming. They just don't want to make the mistake that Capcom did.
Yes.
Because, Tekken, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, for the time, well, I was excited. I bought it, played it, but the game was just broken.
Yes, very.
The game was extremely broken. The online play was absolutely atrocious. I can't even speak. Atrocious. Wow. And it was a letdown. I'm sorry. It was just a letdown. It brought tears to my soul, man. It hurt.
I mean, for me, looking here, like probably knowing the least of these series and this genre and whatnot, but that wouldn't appeal to me at all. Like, I'm hearing Tekken versus Street Fighter, that don't appeal to me at all. Now, if you told me Mortal Kombat versus Injustice, I could do that.
They did that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like on the level of Mortal Kombat, because they tamed that one down. There was no fatalities.
Only I think one person had a legit fatality, but they kind of like
they dumbed it down. They dumbed it down because there was nobody gonna be killing any of those DC characters.
Them superheroes.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, as far as I'm concerned, that game didn't really come out. What came out was some fluff. That Mortal Kombat Injustice, that's fluff. That's like playing the one with the teddy bears. That one I think was more violent. I forget the name of it. There was one with like some teddy bears, a snowman. They looked wicked too. Oh, clay fighters.
Oh,
that's
that game was terrible.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I would have rather played that. That was more vicious than Mortal Kombat versus Injustice or whatever that was, bro. That was fluff.
Oh, that game was so bad.
It was horrible. God. Exactly. But it was true to itself.
Oh my. Oh, you,
Brother, you
oh,
like this game is loading forever on your side, man. You got like 56. I'm
I'm at,
aging here, bro.
I don't know. Maybe it's, I think I got a couple of new games, so it's probably got to upload
Good
more.
lord. Well, this one actually is looking alright. I haven't seen no screen tearing. I think it's some of these older games, man. I don't know what's up. Anyways, we're gonna find out now when you play this game, if you eventually get into it.
Well, give it a minute. I haven't played pinball in a minute, man.
Well, I'm not talking about you playing pinball. I'm talking about are you actually in the game already? Because I'm behind
No,
then. That's what it is.
I'm at 62.
Yeah,
Trust
I'm
me.
at 61 on my screen. It's taking forever.
Yeah, well, I didn't know it was going to, normally it just boots right up. But Nate,
Okay.
let me ask you something, Nate.
Yes, sir.
Why now I know you were a Tekken guy, you know, Tekken came out in the arcades. That's where I first got my taste of Tekken was at the arcade, but why haven't you expanded your fighting game culture
Good question.
to other games besides Tekken?
Honestly, they felt, you know, when you and I'm gonna use for instance, when you play Call of Duty and you try to go play like, for instance, Rainbow Six, or if you play like a different shooter, it's like a whole nother world you're into, and that's the way I felt in comparison with Tekken, and then going to like Street Fighter. All that, it didn't feel fluid. It felt very choppy.
Okay.
I felt like I couldn't get the meal.
You got
I
used to
couldn't get
Tekken.
the yeah. I got too used to it to the point where I was just like, nah, this don't feel right. It just don't feel right. You know what I mean? And it just didn't feel like it fit. And like even now, and then not only that too, but I played a couple. I gave it a try. I'm not gonna say I just played it and dropped it. I gave it a good, fair shot for even like Mortal Kombat, and I sat there and I put in the work to try to study the players and everything, and it just didn't feel right. It just didn't, it just didn't. There was just something like, for me, it just felt like something was missing, and I was like, but then when I go back to Tekken, even if I don't play Tekken for 6 months and I go back, I'm like, yo, I'm feeling it. So that's just my honest answer.
There's
So
nothing
you've been
wrong
playing
with
the
that.
game. You've been playing Tekken so long that you feel like it's like riding a bike. You just don't forget. You can just jump
Yeah.
right back in there and do your thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
Nate,
I hear you.
just for you, Nate, I am running Tekken
Yeah, that
Tag
brother
Tournament
just
2.
running. He just killing me here with these games.
Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
Well, we kept talking about Tekken, and I saw that.
Are you playing on the Xbox by any
He's
chance?
playing on the 360.
I'm playing on the
Man, you lucky.
Xbox. I'm playing on the Xbox, yeah.
On the
I don't know
Xbox One?
why my screen is looking all torn up. on Mixer, it looks fine on my phone. Let me just bring down this resolution again. I'm putting down to 720.
That man had
Yes.
to put in Tekken. He said, man, let me play this game again, see what he's talking about.
Let me see what he's talking about. I mean, like I've been saying all this time, and I share with you guys. I enjoyed playing Tekken for a minute, literally. I had to figure out what it was all about and whatnot, but I just, my young mind back in that day, I could not see myself putting the time and the commitment into playing the game and learning the moves. I did learn King for a minute, good enough to get you in a grapple hole and maybe, chain 2-3 combos together and get your meter
Walk away
like,
from the computer, right?
yeah, well, not walk away from a computer, but maybe, get you 2/3 down on your bar. But other than that, dag, this looks horrible. On my end, I should say it looks horrible.
Really?
Yeah, it's running 1080. I'm looking at it on my phone, but it just looks terrible.
Like, is it slow? or-
Terrible. No, it's moving. It just looks all blurred out.
Yeah, I turned off all my other stuff, so I don't know what
Yeah,
that
I don't.
is.
It just looks completely washed out. Like, yeah. And I'm running at 1080, so, but that's all right. I'm going to be removing this video anyway, so I'm just gonna keep the audio.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've had a good talk. I ain't got no more questions for you, Nate. As far as you sharing your love for Tekken and kind of like letting us know what the series is all about and whatnot, and Jay jumping in there.
I mean,
to show
Speaking
y'all some
his
gameplay
mind.
too. Like next time,
look.
I'll
Oh,
definitely show y'all some
good
gameplay.
gameplay against who?
I got videos saved of some classic battles I've had on my Xbox account. You can probably
Nice.
pull it up right now, actually, Brother
See,
Santos. You can see me fight.
Wait,
I don't roll
I'm gonna
like
have
that.
to. I'm gonna have to check that out
It's in
here
my captures.
in your
Oh, it's in your
captions.
captures.
Yeah, because I actually started a Tekken club too a while back where we started a Tekken club on Xbox and we had some fighters and we recorded a lot of our nights just playing in the room against random people and man, we had some crazy fights. I mean, you gotta see that stuff to believe it. When you see it though, that's when you're gonna be like, okay, I can kind of see. Seeing how close these fights were, you're like, dude, I can kind of tell why you decided. You gotta watch it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, the gameplay I'm watching now is just. I wish it didn't look the way it looked.
well, I'm trying to
And
make
it's all right.
try.
It's all right. It's all right.
So good, babe.
All right. Well, if we ain't got nothing else to talk about, I think I'm gonna be signing off here. Gonna
Listen,
leave it at that.
it is as usual. Things have been great, Nate. You are always a fun person to have around and talk to.
I appreciate that, John.
Oh
Likewise,
man,
like
I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk about Tekken and share your love for the game.
oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna see if here we can get another guest speaker. And I'm talking to you, Kyle, in case you're watching this on a VOD. I know you want to talk to us about the shooting genre and your experience with that, and maybe give us some insight into that. But in the meantime, guys, we've had Nate with us, Jay with the gameplay in the background. Even though you guys are probably just going to catch some audio on this with something else laid in the background. Unfortunately, the video was not what we anticipated or expected. But Jay, what are you playing currently now, and what are you looking forward to here in the next couple weeks, months on this generation of Xbox?
Well, right now I still play a little bit of Monster Hunter. You know, kind of tapping away, playing against that. But right now, I'm thinking about starting Resident Evil again because I'm getting ready for Resident Evil 3 remake.
Oh, I heard about it.
So you know, I got remake 2, great game. If I recommend it to anybody, please play that game. Please, it's fantastic. I'm probably going to do a playthrough of that. I'll probably do Resident Evil 1 through 6, including the remake. So I'll probably be making. It's either going to be that, or I might go back to the Lord of the Rings. And brother,
Nice.
and then I'm sure you in time, you know how I feel if I start hitting the Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, you've gone through that game like what, twice, 3 times already?
That's the first one. The
The
second
first
one I've
one,
only
yeah.
played once.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. The first one you've done like
Oh
2-3
yeah,
times.
yeah. First one I destroyed that game, but I love it.
That's cool.
Yes. Great
That is
stuff,
cool.
gang.
That's cool. What's up with you, Nate? What have you been playing, and what are you looking forward to?
Honestly, I'm looking to something that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, and that is the next generation of Splinter Cell.
Splinter
And it's funny
Cell.
because as we've been playing, Wildlands, Breakpoint, Division 2, it's like I'm kind of sitting here and I'm like, I don't know, like I have a feeling like these are going to be like the test engines for Splinter Cell when it comes out, just because some of the stuff you can do in these games, the level up system, changing equipment and stuff like that, I have a feeling that they're going to do it kind of like how they did Assassin's Creed, where now it's more RPG based as opposed to basically like pure stealth.
Right. Well, that's.
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say some quick news that we're talking about games like that, and I mentioned remakes. Y'all do know that EA and Capcom have went out and relicensed some old school games from back in the day.
Nice.
I
Really?
think
Is there a list?
no, there's no list, but from reportings from people I watch and whatnot, Capcom has got some old titles, like they reissued a license for Power Stone. EA is probably going to. It's a classic Capcom game. Four-player fighter.
I'm
You just
familiar
run
with
around.
Power Stone. Yeah.
Power Stone is ridiculous.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to say this. I can probably get a little bit excited about Capcom, because they've been on that roll with taking some of these old IPs and just breathing new life into them. I mean, you mentioned already Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 coming again. One that I heard that I believe is on a list somewhere and it's almost confirmed from what I understand is Dino Crises.
Yes, I can't.
Yeah.
Heard it, yep.
But as far as EA, whatever, I'm not excited about anything that EA's putting out. Period.
Well, there's one game that I would love for EA to do, and that would be Dead Space. I would love to see a remake of Dead Space, because Dead Space is a classic. If you guys have not played Dead Space, go play Dead Space. Dead Space is sick.
It is.
Yeah, the best thing that EA can do is like what they did with Jedi Fallen Order. They put Respawn on it, and they got out of Respawn's way. Because everything that EA touches, it goes to crap. And they've had that license for Star Wars for since 2013, and they've only put one legit Star Wars game out. And that's not a game they made directly. It was Respawn who made that game.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's the facts.
Didn't Amy Hennig have something to do with that?
Brother, I don't know. All I know is that, and I think people agree, whatever EA touches, it goes to crap.
Oh, absolutely. I've been saying that for a minute.
Yeah. So, until EA don't hit the wall and comes crashing down, it's gonna be crap on top of crap. That hill just keeps growing and growing and growing. It's just, I really don't care. Like, whenever anyone mentions a brand new game, it could be the hypest looking thing. If I see an EA label on it, I'm done. I'm like, nope. I don't care what it is.
Remember the hype we had for Anthem?
I don't even want to talk about it.
Yes, you do.
You saw how sick I was getting when you was loading up Anthem. I was like, really? You put an Anthem? And then the screen started smearing. I was like, thank you, God. That's a sign.
His brother said, thank you, God.
No, man. Nah, it's... And you know that they're still talking about, BioWare is supposedly working on revamping Anthem, the entire thing. Like, they haven't, quote, given up on it. So I hope it's true. I hope it's a fact.
It is.
And
I watched some Anthem news today.
yeah, but you know what? Until I don't boot up my game and see it, it's not. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but when have you ever booted up Anthem? Exactly.
Since last year.
Exactly.
When the game out.
Exactly.
And what did I say? And what did I say to you guys? That I was not going to boot that game up until a year later, right? We're coming up on a year soon. I still have it on my hard drive. Yep, but I ain't booting it up. Nope. I'm going to wait for the anniversary. As a matter of fact, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to see the day it came out. And then I'm going to put a video out on it. I'm going to launch it. I'm going to say a year later. And yeah, no, I don't anticipate that game. Anyways, we went off on a rant. We were supposed to be doing outros here.
Well, that was an outro. We gotta get the last little bit of things to say out of here.
You just trying to get me mad. That's what it is.
I'm gonna get you mad. I can't get you mad. You a grown man.
Nate, he an instigator. He instigated. Anyways.
Oh, and then he gonna call me an instigator?
I've been playing a fabulous game called Hollow Knight. Y'all need to check that out. It's my third game on my 12 games for 2020. So my goal is to go through 12 games and actually run the credits on 12 games before the end of 2020. And Hollow Knight is my third game on the list. But the game I'm looking forward to here in March 11th to be exact,
Ori 2.
Ori and the Will of the Wisp. And that game is going to be a Game of the Year contender. Mark my words. Game of the Year contender. Yes.
That's a lot, man.
Mark my words. It's going to be in contention. So I'm not going to say anything about that because I have another topic that I want to bring up for the next DFG podcast. And I'm going to leave it here for you guys to think about. We ain't gonna talk about it. But should there be such a thing as a classification for games? Meaning, should we have a classification of what is a indie game, what is a AAA title? Should that classification exist, or should games be weighed and measured and judged according to their content? And that's going to be one of the next topics for our next podcast here. So, all right, we've done these outros. Nate, again, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for showing up.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys.
Where can people find you here on Xbox? What's your gamer tag?
Santo Nate.
Santo Nate. And that's all together, right? SANTONATE.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Alright.
You can check out the Tekken. You can check out the Tekken club called Tekken Warlords, and yeah, check out all of our videos.
This brother
So
said
hit Nate up.
Warlord.
Check that out. I am Endtime. That's XENDXTIMEX. That is my gamer tag. Y'all can check me out. And I don't know if Jay wants to put his out there. I'll give you the liberty. If not, we gonna be out.
Well, I'll just say this. Those of you who don't know my gamer tag by now, because if you've heard this podcast, if you've seen me play, and we always talk, it's Dark Dad 99. So so y'all can easily come back and show some love or not. I understand. But anyways, you guys, ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages, y'all have a good night. What?
No, brother.
It could be a 3-year-old watching this.
You sounded like I just got a flashback of the when I was out in New York City, Madison Square Garden, when the circus was in town. Ringling Brothers Barn Bailey Circus.
Oh,
and the ringmaster would introduce it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the greatest show on earth. Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus.
I don't know about the greatest show on earth, man.
Hey, that was a tagline. I ain't put it. All right, guys, be good to one another. Enjoy your gaming, and keep your life drama free. Later, people.
Yes, sir.
Drama-free gaming.